Dabi Kasocha, Daji Chuji Visonamki, Drola Benja Sange Drupa Sho, Sanje, Chodam Soki Tumla, Janju Pato, Dane Josucha, Daji Chuji Visonamki, Drola Benja Sange Drupa Sho, Sanje, Chodam Soki Tumla, Janju Pato, Dane Josucha, Daji Chuji Visonamki, Drola Benja Sange Drupa Sho. Daya ta gade gade para som gade bodi soha daya ta gade gade para som gade bodi soha daya ta gade gade para som gade bodi soha Senja Tamjaga Toja Lana Majiva Sanja Komar Moja Chineja Tomacha Teach the Enemy, Janjosem Labjana Sushan Nelson Lawa, Shimbo, Toa, Tojo Manoa, Chikoto, and Kazubo Labri Shuni, sometimes.
So we again set our motivation to do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment. Knowing that to attain such a state, I must perfect all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. And to perfect those trainings in turn, I must have a thorough and unmistaken understanding of what they are about. And therefore, I am here this morning to listen to just such a teaching from the Graduated Path series of teachings to enlightenment.
Because means that we tend to that tabjal position with the Tomashaja to switching to watch and the two gunner research to the George Nanich like you Lama. Yeah, to Yola Samota, the Judge Chuju, teach of the Kana Cuba ticket, dinner, Jungle of Cuba, dinner margin, Takajaja, Rangaja, Chudonga, dinner, because of the Takajaja. Judici Hajota, Kesanga Sanja Tanta, Janse Power Country Chujo Sumas, question Maza will never use on the set, Ranga Tower to teacher of Magas and Tamja years of the water of Bashisho.
And likewise, then, as normal, we set up, first of all, the marriage field in the space in front of us, just above our own eye line. And that here it begins, of course, with the central figure of Guru Munindra Vajradhara Shakyamuni Buddha. And from the light rays that emanate from the heart center of that central figure, then all the other members of the marriage field are established, beginning with the grouping behind the consecrated practices lineage, at the head of which is Vajradhara. And then to the left and right, we have the extensive practices lineage headed by Maitreya, along with the profound view lineage headed by Manjushri. And below them, the different schools of the Kadampa lineage schools on both sides, and on both sides then below them the grouping of the Geluk lineage lamas, at the center of which is Lama Tsongkhapa. And then at the base of the throne on which the central figure is seated, we begin with the grouping of our own teachers, at the center of which is our own root guru. And then around them, nearby are the different sets of the tantric lineages, the Anuttara Yoga Tantra, the Yoga Tantra, the Acharya and the Kriya Tantric lineage sets. And then they are followed by the Buddhas of the, for example, the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon, and the great Bodhisattvas, the Shravakas, and the hearers, the solitary realizer Buddhas, and then the Arhats, and then the Dakas, Dakinis, the Dharma protectors indeed. Just that we have this certainty that all the members of the merit field are established and present. And then we visualize that in the space all around us are all kind mother sentient beings.
And because Shingram Jana never Ishiba Chantan, and Ishiba Chaza, Swaja Tamja, Tipso Samsajan, or that what in a commission. And then Dabanja Chigata, Yana to Mandata Chira Prieta, what did it, and then Dabanja Swashin Tigata, Ya Dune, Tamina Ya Shami Ya Duch and Dakacha, Power Kandu Power control, Chujo power control, and there ya Tim, and Rangi Lama Party. Yungi, that jungle Lama Zonga, Chubatica, Chila, cheating with Ya Tin, and then Caso de Takacha, Katam Chubatia, Yala Tin, and Caso de Tadati, Convoluto, the Papa Tommy in the party, dear Yatin, Jam Giant in the party. Because of Twitching goes all again, because of Canada, that Namijila, you Lama the Chila Chitem, the outdoor chat, Lamanga meet water, that's compassion. And then Lamanga dear, and because of Jabe and because what you conta, the outdoor chant there, and because of the social door, Lamaton to channel painting. And it jumped in Lamaton to chat, and I get just a Lamate, Lamaton to chat again, and took out something wanted to compassion, what the chat.
So again, we focus on the merit field just established in the space in front of us, and we see that from the central figure at the heart of the merit field, the light rays emanate, and that indeed light rays emanate from all the figures in the merit field, and they go to the pure realms and invite back all the wisdom beings, which come back and dissolve into all the figures of the merit field. And then we offer the 7-limb practice and the mandala, to accumulate merit and purify negativity. And then we engage in the dissolution of the merit field. Again now, starting with the Dharma protectors up through the dakas and the kinis, dissolving upwards until we dissolve into all of the figures preceding the grouping of our own teachers, and they dissolve into then our own guru. And then to the left and right, the dissolution begins with the Geluk lineage lamas dissolving into all of the Chitampa lineage gurus and of the different schools, and they dissolving into respectively the extensive practices lineage, ending with Lord Maitreya, and then the profound view lineage, going up through all of the gurus related to the profound view, such as Nagarjuna and Chandakirti, and ending with the Lord Maitreya. And then all of the consecrated practices, lineage gurus, again dissolve upwards until you were left with just the head of that lineage, Vajradhara. So now we are left with the 5 remaining characters of the merit field. We can pause there for a moment, and before continuing with the dissolution, this begins with Vajradhara dissolving into the crown of the central figure. Then the main 2 figures of Maitreya and Manjushri on the left and right dissolving, coming in and dissolving into the central figure, and finally our own root guru rising up and dissolving into the heart of the central figure of Shakyamuni Buddha Guru Munindra Vajradhara. And this completes then the dissolution of the merit field.
다 근데 라마 통한 도지 차한테 아니 딱 간제 산제 탐제가 두수면 산제 탐제가 다니 다야 어디를 쳤나 왔다 군주 노블루게 더 다시 참으러 어디를 쳤나 어디는 소 프로소 때는 구지대 라마라 통한 도지 차서 지들은 라마라 통한 도지 차서 대질롱고라 라마라 통한 도지 차 담조고도 라마라 통한 도지 차서 딱 간제 김두군도 라마라 통한 도지 차서 소아데스 딱 간제 칼로고나 추요수군도 담려고도 라마라 통한 도지 차서 딱 되게 소 프로소서 대 순대 대직체 어디를 쳤
And so now we see the final remaining figure of Guru Munindra Vajradhara as the embodiment of all Buddhas there in the merit field, and we offer the stake-like prayer. My most divine Guru, Lord of the 4 Kayas, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of unimpeded Dharmakaya, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of blissful Sambhogakaya, Lord of sundry Nimanakayas, embodiment of all Gurus, embodiment of all deities, embodiment of all Buddhas, embodiment of all Dharma, embodiment of all Sangha, of all Dakas and Dharmapalas, embodiment of all the refuge, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara.
유연대 통내 조신나를 미배 대화 아니 랑게 타원의 진짜 막게 ਸਮ절을 미배 니제 어디를 다 ਸਮ절 탐제가 도다는 산제 공부 유원유도 토바치기 이체도 다 같이 진서 파지 주다 도양 먹으시게 냠래 추시도 지긴 삼사 왔다 된지 벌 봐도 저 뒤바다 다 장도 수수 왔다 순대체는 두체나가 마파 토마토 버터서 키워봐도 다 되게 냠래 집을 봐도 뒤바다가 장소스 어디를 고바시 어디를 체
And then we can begin the meditations of the descending nectar light by, first of all, reminding ourselves of all of the enlightened qualities in the merit field in front, embodied by the central figure of Guru Manjha Vajradhara, and that brings forth a sense of faith in us towards the main figure. And then also considering all of the sufferings of all of the sentient beings of the 6 realms surrounding us, we develop a sense of compassion, and that we make this pledge to quickly attain the state of enlightenment in order to be of perfect benefit to sentient beings. And in order to do that, I will perfect the 6 perfections, and I will establish the 4 ways of accumulating cycles in my mind stream. And in doing so, I recognize the importance of, on the one hand, accumulating positive merit, and on the other, purifying the negativities. So in this way, I invoke the descending nectar lights to come and to purify, on the one hand, all of the obscurations and negativities that I've accumulated, and endow me with all the positive merit to be able to perfectly practice the Dharma.
다리들 가서 보더라 수배냠래 지당 거티바 좋아 수배냠래네 다리 다가서 다제 짐바다 다가제 짐바다 가서 다가제 추적이 또 뒤지 진사바체 또 뒤지 마체 다 짐바도 추짐체 다들이 임바다 레 다가제 그 가서 다가제 레다 나라도 심제 탐제거도 하나 산제 공부 도는 얘기다 냠래 지가 치바이네 먼저 지금 쇠배 냠래 지나도 야고 마신 바나 야 될 때는 아니 지가서 심제 탐제도 산제 공부 도주 자네다 지금 그서다 디바 바도에 가서는 예술의 기회 규모부터 있는가 열봐 근데 이번에 자디 쇠배 냠래 지나도 15도 와 어떻게 좀 봤죠 한 쇠배 냠래 같이 지고서 쇠배 냠래는 지고 다다다 라마 통한도 샤 검시병은 주벌 남을하 검시병 아니어서 또 말씀제 탐제거도 요한요 양도고서 산제 공부를 보지 진행해 토버자 대체도 다 심제 탐제어서 대체도 심제 탐제 잘난자 다 수를 넣어밖에 봐 있네 잘난자 토에서 기지장 미겨와 아니 다 수를 넣어밖에 봐 레벨 렌데는 펜버 좀 봐지 펜버 좀 봐주대 라신 가서 라신이 줄라는 수업 파제 라소바 산제의 천나 용수적으로 자기 인스자고 서 어떻게 나는 제대로 전도바 라마네 친구라도 서 선대 전 안두제는가 왜서자 주바 통하면 디바를 켜봐다 수변냐면 제발 봐도 디바다 마 장소 삼도 어디에 고마시 어떻게
So we've been discussing the practice of the 6 perfections, and we have arrived at the 3rd of these, how to practice the perfection of patience. And we see that we have covered in some manner the practice of the perfection of generosity and the perfection of ethical conduct previously. But we see now too how essential the perfection of the practice of patience is in terms of our goal to quickly attain the state of enlightenment, because without patience we have constantly opening ourselves to constantly engaging in engaging in the accumulation of negativities and having to experience the results of these, and so the negative results of these. And so we make a strong declaration at the very beginning regarding the reminder that we have our Guru deity on our crown, and that we make this pledge to really bring all sentient beings to the state of enlightenment for the sake of their benefit. I want to quickly attain the state of complete enlightenment and attain that precious state of enlightenment on myself. And therefore, that I will perfect all the practice of the perfection of patience, that even if all sentient beings were to rise against me as my enemy, that I would not develop anger for even one moment, and any harm that comes to me I will return with benefit. And so make this a strong pledge that I must fully perfect the Buddha Dharma, such as the practice of patience in my own and others' mental continuums, I make this pledge to Guru Deity, please bless me to be able to make this so. And through this strong invocation, this invokes the descending nectar lights emanating from my Guru, coming down through my crown and off crowns of all sentient beings. The 5-colored nectar light with the white light predominant, purifying all of the negativities and obscurations that have accumulated since beginning this time, and particularly eradicating all of the obstacles to my being able to really perfect the level of the perfection of patience that has been described here.
그래서 어디를 다들 아니 지금 어떤 검신배가는 다 같이 지금 쇠배 표현 아니 다 컨트리님이 다 쳐요 삼로단이 아니 쇠바스는데 다 지금 가서도 고미에게 아니 공부 투바이나 아니 평바 그때 유매 마고바이는 님이 그때 유매 그렇아 다가니 시게 지금 조주달 소환이 시 가서다 셰단답이 디바메 소바답이 가두메스 셰단네 시게 셰단다 콘돌라 소바네 시게 딜레네 디바 쳐와사이 주요 말이었어 아니 소바 콤반네 실레 소바 콤발레 아니 가두 딜레 하가지다 요 말이었어 가두네 초도 좋아도 소바 콤도에 드렸어 소베냠레 체드레 소한테 다 디가 초만 보내 삼로다네 소바 콤이라 드롭해지 조합해와 있는 소속의 샘팅의 쇠배 연대 톤에는 가와 중앙 이바이나 아니 쇠바 고말 강해요 말와 다른 것은 쇠배 연대 마동아 인자 아니 쇠배 연대 예바 많이 봐 인자 아니 저 코르께서나 소설 팬 두고 이바 소리치 소설 로바 연구 이바 소리치 나와 자체는 다 몸배 오고 용어 되게 도와
And so essential to a successful cultivation of patience is the ability to appreciate the benefits of patience on the one hand and the very negativities of anger on the other. And this is something that we need to have a really strong contemplation on. It's very important for us to do that and to kind of be able to habituate ourselves to patience on the other hand. We have to really see it as something that's of great value to us, of great assistance to us. And in order to really cut our habituation to the angry response, is to see how debilitating and how negative that is for us. So it's the logical approach to see it. As again, Shakti Deva says in the Bodhisattva's way of life, there is no greater negativity than hatred. There's no more wonderful austerity than patience. And so it's really getting to the point where one is seeing the possibility of applying one's patience with a certain joy, a certain rejoicing and delight in it. We have to really gain that sense of appreciation for patience and the application of it in our lives in order to develop the conviction in that that is the right response to give here in any situation, to see it as something that is really a support for our life and in our interactions. So it's very important for us to see that is the case and to make sure that we are taking this twin approach to, on the one hand, appreciating the benefits of patience, and on the other hand, dismissing anger because it has no benefits, it's only got negativity associated with it.
我的大的错误是，按大概的性格，主要本来宽度是个的，这阶级是给我一百的，本来恰恰呢，然后宽度给啥个余地，按讲究300几百亿呢，按然后给我当个给啥装出来去，是吧？给我当个别说的，按讲究什么男朋友呢？按给我加一套，点点给呢给啥装出来用多大？讲什么一把这个讲什么这个超出呢？按给我当个给啥装出来？我但点点个你要当全部进行啥就。 아니 계산 주말에 내라고 문도 아니 근데 깨지직스나 다 대대직라 아니 차 주주 참바 제베다 차직라 깨지마 직스기로 대대직이 그 코르게 와 있는 스기 요마다 아니 근데 먼저 코르게나 뒤세기 말봐 교리 다지 코르게로
So again that the disadvantages of anger are so great that it says that if the object of our anger, even just for one moment, is a bodhisattva, then we destroy 1,000 eons of accumulated merit. If it's an ordinary person, 100 eons of accumulated merit. So we have to see this as something really, really very unskillful, very poor choice of reaction in any given situation, because it's not easy to accumulate such a great length of merit, is it? It's very, very difficult. And to say, again, as pointing out, one moment of minimum activity, there are 65 of such moments in one finger snap like that. So it's actually not a very long time that you have to generate anger to lose that much merit. And considering for most of us, we don't generate anger for such a short time anyway. It usually lasts a lot longer than we'd rather like. So we have to be very, very careful in that regard.
Yeah, what controls and controls what in the that the shebe tone, hakobe tone, words in betone. And it was in betone or controls in the kijumo, the control kewaina, and that mozo around to do what they said this somewhere. Kewa chimatimaja, but think it to get to some tangy michigata, controls and cannot charge in the tigum do some subject. What to quit. That's not said Timoda Samlo Madangaji, man, Konrikene Kivek, Susuni Kibu Kugu Mare, Kalatoa Yomare, and Soso La Kage, Minung the Dogre, Kota, said the Indian Sudan, Tamarazo, said this Samara, was a take it, Sunday command to be in second, that contract that the Caso the Tamoneta room never saw. Room, Yonsa never, that teacher, that someone in the Martigan. Someone in the Martigan, what are the nigger? Some dinner, but never near any country nimite and a survey pay dinner. That's so much come to Vaina, Rana kept some part of Mavaragu, Rana kept some part of Mavaragu Vaina, shake it never, Tibu never gave a Kaya Marma, Tibu never gave a dinner, Suba come to you, Suba come a dinner, and think it to give to Tuna, and never gave a sort of pepper tower. And a penguin de la Carchan Conto Sagayore. Roa, what that is some tango chadwa.
So it's important for us then to really educate ourselves around the benefits, the positivity of patience, and the absolute negativity of anger. To know it, to recognize it, and to see, that if we choose anger as our reaction, as our response, we can see that, it's something that does not fulfill our desires in the short term. It does not help us in this life, and it really wrecks our future lives. And that's very important. It really prevents us from being able to aim even for definite happiness in the future. And if we even have no such kind of long-term goals like this, but we just consider this one life to be it, but we can see that even in that context, anger is a very poor choice of reaction, because those who have that anger tendency tend not to sleep well, tend not to enjoy their food. It's very clear that they become distant from their friends and their acquaintances. And so life becomes a very lonely existence for them. And so for those for us who have a sense of really aiming for a more definite, long-lasting happiness, we must establish that anger has absolutely no place. There is no context in which anger is allowable. And so it's very, very important for us to see that. And that in response, what should our reaction be in all of those untoward, dissatisfactory situations? It's a response of patience. And we can only establish that by really understanding that patience comes with it countless benefits, just as anger comes with it countless negativities, countless disadvantages. So it's understanding these benefits that will allow us to be in a situation where, for example, somebody harms us, but instead of an angry reaction, we are offering this patient response. And we know that from just that one incident, that we have accumulated a tremendous benefit that will really stand to us in establishing definite happiness in the future. Therefore, we have to view the one who is harming in that incident as not somebody who is doing us a disfavor, but rather somebody who is very beneficial, because they are allowing me to establish the causes for future happiness by responding with patience. Then how could I possibly be angry at such a person? So if you think even more, in a more subtle sense about this, you can see that, say, that harmer, that person is harming, and they are developing anger from their side. That is a negativity that's going to rebound on them very seriously. And so, and what I'm getting out of it is tremendous benefit, because I am able to respond with patience, not in any way developing anger. And so that's a great benefit to me. So in that sense, what is the relationship between us is that I get great benefit out of it. But unfortunately, they are, as it were, giving up their lives in order to give me this opportunity to develop patience. So they are somebody tremendously precious, that they are sacrificing, as it were, so much to give me this opportunity to develop patience.
Today in Bayansa, and it Geshe Dani Chemusuke, Geshe Dani Chemuke, so never given the Sachemuji was a city of Yansa, Sachemuji was city of Yansa, and the social Chemus Toba, Pentot away city of Yansa, and social minute, dollar minute, Kandaga Tom down a Semjana, Tenetato, that I could contribute to what social minute, and social minute, and the control care, social minute, nobody care what they join Bayina, then they gigante. And Donda Tamja to be Juri Joashos. Corado Donda to be Juri Joashos. What is what? So pen taught to get such a way as this Muyorba. So
the great beings, they configure relationships like this with people who are the most harmful to them by really considering them as being so unbelievably precious, the most precious, because they give them the supreme opportunity to establish and to integrate and to show their patience. And so these people are tremendously precious. And so they pray very fervently that these people will be able to fulfill their heart wishes and to be able to maybe really attain states that they want to attain for themselves.
What the Sungutua, Tagani Tanda Casoda Kichilang Tabia Kare. Kishilang Tabia Carsa. Oh, touch Kanda Target Panda, Rewacha Wakashi, Shindu made in nature now, Shin Tabata, Social Park Panton, and the Social Luna, Chikan to the Rawa, you can meet and take a social Nova Kavaina, then Nova Kavadilla, and Shini Tabata to Washos, gave Shini to Tatu Washos. What did the Sungutua, gave Shini to Tatu Washos. Or the Suguta, what then the Kajachi, then they get Tatuba Jebu, Kazan Tatuba Yimbaina, Kazan Tatuba Yina, and the social Kapsachi was learned to Yorba. Social Kapsachi was learned to Yorba. That did Tamatuba Yina, and social John was a Yorba. Until that was a kid to go John Miduga Yimba, Kapsan the Leela, Takar Samata Gudo. Or Jegu Sugu Yorba, what did it say?
And again, I was quoting from Geshe Konchok from the 8 Verses of Thought Transformation, and describing when we are in a situation where we have been of great benefit to another person, and yet they turn around and, as it were, harm us and stab us in the back. And that in that situation, he said, we must regard them as the most precious spiritual friend of ours. That they are like without peer for us in the terms of if we are able to respond with patience in that regard. Because we can see that the greatest benefit, the greatest profit to us in that situation is to absolutely establish patience as the overriding reaction in our mind stream. And that is also highlighting that the greatest fault in that situation is to generate anger towards that person. So it's saying, it's weighing up what is the worst possible reaction with the best possible response, and showing here that for the tremendous benefit that it brings to us, because they have afforded us this opportunity, and they are the most pure, the spiritual friend.
다 간제 저 단데 소바텔라야 아니 가서 동해다 뇌제를 지면이 벌써 동해다 내가서 출라게 저거 소바서 다 간제 소발라 다 저기 대세미터 숨제 용되기도 와 어디를
So again, within the patients, we have the three categories of patients here in the perfection of patients. One is the patients of not returning benefit for harm, of accepting all suffering, and of engaging, putting up with austerities for the sake of the Dharma.
what get the and what to bet on any Suvenium the Tak can't do Yabu I said to Takaja Kanjet Takaja Takaja Sosuke Pena Chicken nobody Tella and never Landela Pamba to be. And Tavanishan Nazalo Sobata the Negia, Kange Chava Inaya, and a tea, Makiba Machivachana. And Rota Kange Kadeshava in there, and Kange de and Kenya channel, so that leg over to Vaina, Tapsi Mervata, and Chit Mount, Tugumuder Mauma led the Masai to the Bezuchegudua. Bezuchegudua, what did the Chantaka let me jump at the middle of Chuba Miss Author, let the Namchat to lay some Chitan, that Chomangun, some Lotane, and Diggy, and so much of Mamba Chene, and a Diggy, and Karchegut, and because a child Tanigo Soba come to a Chene. And chewing a nature to a church. What does Dokuda? What did it?
So this is really in a way of breaking it down for us, so that we can do our very best in our practice to integrate patience in all our lives. And that here, to the one hand, the example of what has been pointed out, that anybody who harms, that we return harm with benefit. And that is the kind of like way of transforming the situations of difficulty that we find ourselves in with others. And then we can have personal difficulties of having illness and so on, and injury. And that here we say we must not become despondent in a situation. We must not allow those situations to get us down, but to readily accept them. And because actually these are the natural ripening results of karmas that we have accumulated. And that if we have the proper response in this case, we won't have to experience this kind of karma again in the future. And so here it's kind of the readily acceptance of hardship and of difficulty when it arises for us as the best possible way of dealing with it. And also it allows us to free our mind and mentality up to continue our focus on spiritual practice.
And Tagani Sobatella get should Niela and Kondo Majungone. And it's a Yimateo Jungo, Kondo Majunga, Yimateo Jungo, substitute the Ketchmurwa. Rataka mixing it other day because of the that chicken nobody can join the Tunga join, the Kanga join, the Joa and the social tossing might give a charge. Them Mateo church, those because of the those of Matishi church, take on all that some Majena. Tanga Kondukesa, something to do how go church and Konduka much country name. And then survey paint some of the Kondumayu Tapsi church. Kondumayu Tapsi church. Takaja Kondro says Jung Satu, my Jung Satu, and come to the Samuton, Tosca Mayorwa. That I'm with a Majungwana, and those Demade Junduna, and Rebel, that Kondro second. Yavasagi, Rale, Nugri, Shella, the Rashinigal, Nova Chicks, what some time with on it, and they do not control cat which he gets with Sarwa. 이마대와다 컨트롤 세레스 방 어저 이마대와라 때네 아니 배는 미지가 내가자는 가르치는 갈라고 요래 근데 다른 사직 말아 산이 말아 참망부 되게 제수 다가 좀제 망부 되는 거에는 컨트롤도 숙쳤던 것도 와 숙쳤던 것도 와다 와다도 이마대와 제도 아니 대가라 아니 삽사지에는 아니 코르게 마주가 제디 개쳐 보이스래
So in this regard, awareness of what's going on in our own minds is very, very key to, on the one hand, avoiding energy or anger arising, and on two, of maybe of being able to choose patience as the right response. Therefore, it's really before anger degenerates in the mind that we must be able to be on the lookout for any small disturbance in our peace of mind. Excuse me. And at that stage, when we have this slight disturbance in our equanimity, in our peace of mind, that we should be able to recognize that, say, oh, okay, I got to be careful now. I'm in a situation here where there's some risk of anger arising. I can already feel the little bit of disturbance in my peace of mind. It's like a ripples in my mind stream. Therefore, I need to remind myself of the faults of anger, of allowing this to go any further, and the disadvantages of all that. And on the other hand, I will remind myself of the benefits of patience. So what's to be gained if I maintain my patience, my equanimity of mind here, and that this is the way to be able to see it. Once anger has risen, like full-blown in the mind, and then it's very difficult to do anything about it. And that we, often at that stage are already justifying the anger by, talking about, why did that person speak like that to me? This is not the first time they've had this attitude. They have, taken advantage of me and spoken to me like that in several times before, and before long you've justified the anger, and it's kind of already taken strong root in your mind. Whereas if we're able to spot it at this early stage, like we say, we can understand how if I allow this small disturbance in my peace of mind now to go unchecked, it will harm myself, it will harm others, and that this cannot be allowed to happen, and therefore I will sustain a patient attitude of mind. And again, it's the process of really being able to establish patience as the only response that is justifiable in the situation. Again, by reflecting on it, by finding the reasonings to support that, we gain enough conviction in the patient's response that it becomes our first response in all of these situations. Again, from Shantideva's Bodhisattva's Way of Life, it says, "But why is a man condemned to die, not fortunate, if he is released after having his hand cut off? Why am I, who am experiencing human misery, not fortunate, if by that I am spared the agonies of hell?"
message say touches music and just the bottle top sheet is done. That's same over to Labasura Church and Thai Jubayuna. That is Mr. the Katochibu Shujo Gurwata, Katochibu Shujo Gurwa. That Aganishan Aranzo did the wet sun in Yawala to egg, the west Sagatona, City to get doors, Made, she's a toss, got you to the Yapashu was one. That's the budget never can. So the Kondo Masawa channel, never did. Gangan takes the water search and Yansola gave good to Mago and Jonathan. She will Yago was to you, that Tirwata, Yago was. 가서 딱 이제 유단 제비고 조단데 약고 심어이나 그 제투에 지르도아 그 내가 중주 된데지 서고 문도는 녀석은 내가 유 가르쳐 주고 요래 지어봤다.
And so here it's very clear, saying that somebody who is actually condemned, they've already been condemned, they're on, death row, it's going to happen, but somehow they get a reprieve. But instead of dying, they just have to have a hand cut off. Now, surely a person like that would weigh up the definite plan of death versus just being maimed, and see themselves as being incredibly fortunate. And that's the same for us. If we knew that we, even though we had causes on our mind stream that would lead to the hell realms, but that if we could just endure some suffering in a human body, that would purify those negativities, we would be really rejoicing about that too, seeing the great benefit of it. And so here it's like really understanding, the where patience sits within the benefit and the harm that comes to us on a general level, and see that when we can respond to any harm that comes to us, any misfortune that comes to us, with a patient response, we can see the goodness in that, the benefit of that, the inevitability of that for us. Then we are well on the way to developing proper patience. And it's really only becoming aware of the cause and effect relationship and having a conviction in the cause and effect relationship to understand that what arises for us is a result of causes, that how we respond to that is going to determine what that results will be in the future. And so patience is key in that. It's really the fulcrum around which we deal with the cause and effect relationship efficiently.
Rawa yoni kego rawa meni kego yors cheba chawande ana rawa meni kego yobate ngotro ngorwa rawa meni kego yoba yimba yina kego yoba yimba yina ta ka jaje ani khono ke de ta yongda betegechi oto de samlo mata achne ani rawa yume de samlo mata achne khona gari shawan jume samlo chon mata achne ani sonne ba jado angara zuga ta 지금 공간 너밖에도서는 컨트롤이 저되고 열봐. 딱 갈 소소로 너밖에다 라와 연이 계기도 라와 매니 계기도. 뒤째와 제와이나 아니 그 라와 매니 계기. 따라 로아페나 녀몽의 샤와도 있겠네. 소소소소로 너밖에 봐 연구도 와서 저주다. 소소소소로 너밖에 봐 연구도 왔어. 아니 녀몽 샤와한테는 아니 나라도 너밖에 봤다. 지금 항상 그 레몬도 왔어. 소소소소로 너밖에 봐 연구도 아니 소소소 세봐 연구도 아니 the nomo shawan to the shares about the Hasha Shamudu was. What are these Chamachan and Kondo Sajus of the Ninjiki Kukabu?
And another reasoning here to be able to choose correctly when somebody harms us, we have to ask the question. They are operating now on the basis of mental affliction. Their motivation was a mental affliction that's causing this behavior in them. Are they in control of what they're doing, or are they not in control of what they're doing? And that this is like really being able to take a step backwards and say, rather than getting involved in the situation of, oh, they're harming me, I'm being harmed, blah, 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 and then I'm getting my, knee-jerk reaction of anger towards them. Here, it's simply asking the question, if somebody is that angry and they're harming, they're under the influence of that mental affliction. They're not in control of really what they're doing. They've lost their head, as we say. They are not in control of what they're doing. So it's a case of a little bit of analysis on our side to give us that breathing space and say that there's no place here for anger from my point of view, because this person is not in control of what they're doing. Again, as is pointed out in the Bodhisattva's way of life, there are people who will harm themselves when they're under the influence of mental affliction and anger, for example. And so that's surely out of control behavior. And so therefore, in this particular case, I can't be pointing the finger and getting angry at somebody who's not in control because they're under the influence of their own anger. Therefore, for me, the only response in this case is one of compassion, because I know the consequences of the mental afflictions and the causes that they lay down.
never judo mazo soso setarege soso lula tapena soso seba yugudo kondo gishama jone and seba yondu and shela never jamata ta hasa keremu dos ta mune jana konala kondo sanjo pasha ninji ke고 dos 그게 ninji ketu mundo na ya kondo sanada zawani na 직사 말했어 소다 소도 zawani na 직사 말했어.
So it's really saying here that, you know, these people who engage in harmful actions through being under the influence of anger here, they are only really engaging in reality, it's self-harm, because they're laying down the causes for the experience that harm in the future. And no one wants suffering. And this is the fundamental, isn't it? We all want happiness and no one wants suffering. Yet here is a situation where somebody is engaging in a self-harm, really. And that's like out of control. That's going against the very fundamentals of what their nature is about. And so this is a behavior that is confused, it's clouded, it's ignorant, it's not in control. And we can see, as again, Shantideva points out, there are people who get so out of control like this, anger, that they will actually kill themselves. Imagine going to that extreme. That's surely demented behavior. And that therefore, these people who, no wonder then you say that people who are under the influence of anger engage in the harm of others and the harm of themselves. It's no big surprise. But from our point of view, when you see that, you see a person who is not in control of what they're doing, not in control of what they're saying. It's a sad situation. It's a situation where we can only respond with compassion. Never, ever, ever. It is never appropriate to respond with anger.
다가는 생각 소소로 내가견에 소소로 다 동해 저부터 중앙 인물 동해 연구요 때 동해 되게 동해 세계들 다 저거 야고 삼로단 동해 가서는 동해를 연대 가서는 아니 동해 중앙인데 교회 때 봤어 왔지 코어벌 니지졌어 아니 저 아니 동해 중앙인데 아니 라시우제 레샤 삼상게 아니 삼로데 가서 다 제파스로 나제서 된대 용해 때 매우 차도 세그레스 아니 대 동해 연구 여바 인자 아니 라다 동해 연구 찍어도 인지 계획 탐시 제주고여서 인지 계획 아니 된대 여바 인자 다 디바디 아니 주 가려잖아 저 아니 미게 왔을 때는 연구 봐 셔는 저 받는 연구 여바자 아니 디베 줄라 아니 잼시 아니 아니 가서도 계획 줄라 아니 조합해 되는 연구를 개발을 가왔더니 연구를 because some tangdashina ti yong to yes.
And again, a verse from Shantideva's Bodhisattva's way of life is saying, when you actually reflect on suffering and really analyze the suffering, you can see that actually it has very good qualities too. Points out here the good quality of suffering is that it removes arrogance through sorrow. And one develops compassion for the beings in samsara because one has that experience oneself, and one avoids negativities because one knows now the results of those negativities, and one rejoices in virtue. So, I mean, suffering has all of these good qualities. And again, it goes to the heart of our ability to analyze carefully and see the goodness that can be extricated from these suffering situations.
And Tagan Rangi Tiki Tamcha Simjan Joe Simjala then Yungu Yoba, then Yapo share Yana to Samlataya. And Rangi Tiki Tamcha and share Simjan the Gachabu Yinza and the Shen Jensen the Gachabu Ye. And Rangi Midu Dunga Diga Ran Jensen the Yungu Yoba, Ran Jensen Kotumana Samlatan, Shen Jensen Yunda, and Kotumana Samlatan, any Jensen Niki, any Gotoni. And Yamlenchie, and Simche la Takaja, Gosoda Takaja, that chokane, and a pepper to it, and a Simje never gave in there, and nearly pepper to it, and Locombache, Comtichie. Takanishi, and it's done, Judah Divin of the landing and Namcha Tezula Tene, and getting never soon never gave a tilla, and never gave a tea, and it Nar Pandava Kavainza, T on date, that to Maubala de Moyo et Cheto, and Pandava Magie. Never my give a salo, Pemba to get. What a digger, some ships have you torn a done, any water, any sugar yalaman and Pemba to me. So never give a pepper to be, something, nearly pepper to be, something that Narato Caso de Chigi Misi Comshin al Chatwatch. So, two chicken pani loving something, I think also comes in Nordic one. Nordic one. That remember just two never chicken, never till pepper part to it. Never till it in a pepper to it. What that? They want to chicken so the Comsilla giant. That is ship some Madame does cover the ship some done and you that debut to that condition good do. Ship some done any till attendant and never. Rashi Nigal never my huge to do that. That is Jumse Samamata does cover the cup to Samatana, that was just what it was.
And so, here in the context of being able to really, what we're talking about here is cultivating a life habit of always choosing patience, the patience attitude, patience mindset. And this means starting off by, again, considering the sentient beings as being all important. They're absolutely essential that any happiness that I have ever experienced, that I am experiencing, that I will experience, it comes in dependence on sentient beings. They are full, clear, central to my own happiness. And so therefore, I should be able to develop this sense of cherishing others and constantly, and looking at the benefits of cherishing others versus the terrible negativities and disadvantages of self-cherishing, and be able to transform these two, to swap these two over, to take away this obsession with my own self-cherishing and replace it with the attitude which cherishes others, and seeing the reasoning behind why that is a good choice always. And that here it's to be able to benefit sentient beings as much as possible at all times, and to always respond to harm from sentient beings with a benefit as much as we possibly can. And this is something that to habituate to. This is something that we need to establish in the mornings, in our meditations, in our motivations, to remind ourselves, today is the day where I respond to harm with benefit only. And I want to make that a life habit. I want to make that central to my own behavior. And that here, it's going to change the situation where a previous harm that I experienced the unskillful way that I have responded to that in the past, reacted to that in the past, may have now transformed. And so that in the future, any harm that befalls me, I will see it in the light of the karma of it and all the other disadvantages of it, but respond to it in a skillful way with patience. Respond to harm with benefit, in other words, in the future. And that here, it's to see that as something that is the only choice for me in throughout this day and throughout the rest of my life. I need to think about it very carefully, very subtly. It's not something that comes easily, is it? You know, to be able to just accept this. But one needs to think about it using, you know, in the context of cause and effect, to see what causes bring about what effects and so on. And to choose wisely then how I'm going to make this into a life habit.
다 내신의 소소가 지금 류라에 나자 민다와다 지시가 겐세다 에르사 나자 민다면 용되게 도와다 나자 소 미되게 동에 토도 법에서 다 되게 동에 중앙인데 아니 지금 가서도 지금 랜드가 남샤 삼다네 어디 칼라사다데 노래 지지 제를 데려자만 임받잖아 어디 깨래 칼라사다 노래 최대 야고 맞아 어디 깨는데 요거래 요거래 이래 대상도 조임바 이나 아니 근데 대상의 주임바 이나다 아니 지금 건강을 연구돼 연구면 도와. 그냥 어디라고 타마도는 마우스 캔서를 연구했어. 타마도에 대 마우스 캔서가 주조 임바 이나 아니 타마도는 건강 마우스 캔서 연구면 도와. 가시 로싱아 통나 마우스 캔서 연구 가시 미세거나 타마도는 마우스 캔서 뭐 연구해. 얘네 마우스 캔서 게 지그래. 게 치슈 지그러 왔다. 그 주대 캔건 조 주대 가르스나 다 랑게 레니 바사와 좀 물어봤다. 레니 바사와서 다까지 셀은 녀바체 디버 톱치 부 사바체 연구여 봐. 연구여 되거라. 규조 디체 아니 디켄디 다 사다민다 통다만 저와 둘로 건다민다 다까지 지게는 남식이 최대지다 만들어 때는 용적으로 와. 용적으로 와. 그 괜찮. 어디 다들 근데 이마이다 다 녀와다 레니 바사베는 제부이스. 제부이 다 되고 이봐도 뭐트베도는 아니 데데게 나타다 강에다 데데 중에 갈 아니티 뭐트바체네 아니 마오발라 레니바 사주 문도 삼삼게 아니 저기 배준지에 아니 디다 쇼도야 지금 배다 트레데다 가이네 제 용거 아니 디야 강에다 세다고 탑시 되죠 제 셈마기바 맞죠 아니 다가니 지금 디나제 레니바 사게 소수 주고 말해 타야바 semje 요래 대답을 내니 받담자 얘들 고쳐봐쇼 얘 동네 녀한테 고쳐봐쇼 대답을 동네 많이 와쇼 아니 얘게 아니 다 겨와사배 먹고 요래 아니 겨와사바 되게 저부 대답을 미마쇼 대답을 동네 많이 와쇼 대답을 동네 대답 때문에 얘들 고쳐봐쇼 어떻게 삼도 땅토가 있나 아니 땅토에다 아니 마오발라 된데가 육마사베게 아니 배준치 어디 공부시고도 어디들 바토스 마지막 어디 사다 마지막 통다 다가 잠을 참 마셔 제 용거로 와 뒤지 레데 이네 유 조디 랭이 바사예 심지를 뇌스지에
So furthermore, it points out that even when we have you know, unfortunate situations where maybe there is we're bereft of food or good food, of wealth, of a place to stay or good accommodation, and indeed any kind of you know, the many various dissatisfactions that we encounter, and that when these kinds of sufferings befall us, we must be careful to say that, you know, understanding what the law of cause and effect is about here. These are a result of the negative karmas that we have accumulated in the past. And that all of what is to say that the food is lack of food, and the lack of clothing, and the lack of good accommodation, etc., or any other diseases that we might have, cancer, AIDS, or anything like this, these are, in terms of causes and conditions, these are conditions. These are the cooperative conditions, and all of which we must make that distinction always, that the actual material of the situation itself is the cooperative condition, but the main cause, the substantial cause, is the negative karma that we have accumulated. So this is an important distinction to make. Like, for example, in situations where people are a smoker, and some people, as a result of smoking, get mouth cancer. And this is quite common. But this is, we can't say the mouth cancer is the substantial, or the smoking is the substantial cause of the mouth cancer. It's a cooperative condition that comes along with smoking. But the mouth cancer itself, the main substantial cause is of the negative karma that we have accumulated in the past. You know, the smoking is exactly what it says. It's a cooperative condition. It's that which assists the arising of the mouth cancer, but not the main cause. And here, whether what we are annoyed by, whether it's the weather, whether it's the lack of food, whether it's inadequate clothing, the sort of like, you know, countless dissatisfactions that we come across. These are all cooperative conditions, but the main substantial cause for why they are happening to us is the negative karmas that we have accumulated. And we must constantly remind ourselves and to make that distinction. And then when we do, we can understand that all countless sentient beings are in a similar situation, having to experience the similar dissatisfaction. And so in this practice for us, we can say, may all of their negative karmas that lead to those dissatisfactions for them, these undesirable situations for them, may it all ripen on me now. May it all focus on me now. I take it all on myself. And in this way, may there be no suffering for them. May the suffering not ripen for them at all. That may stop here with me now, and have that courageous attitude to take it on for yourself. And then to dedicate, you know, all of your positive virtue that you have accumulated for their benefit. May it bring happiness to them, and so on. And so it's just transforming the situation in the development of your perfection of patience.
So what the Tabanja said or no, there's a name the day upon and then not that the Judo, and the Mikey Bajana Matebachena. And the data, laying you must have a table that who yours a cow company. Cow that cow comes to the order that take it to the Maja Tapsi, your name, the Tarik Tapsi, don't get the Tapsi, your money, and call count to check. In it, don't get the Mikey much because Mikey Masobachen, don't get the same thing that drop in it. Or that lane you must have it, what Tadu, Tayapore, something. And the other Lavanishiki, and suggesting to get the net to watch over show, some such and that what the legend and Rangi Jamba the Ninja compared to Troy again, and Petrucci. What the legend Takaji, the any cause of the lamb to get to a church. Lamb to get to a church. Takaji should be twin get to a church. What I get to what is it? So again, this process of being able to put whatever we're experiencing, all the dissatisfaction, the disturbing experiences that we have in the context of karma, and understand that by being able to respond skillfully in this way, by being able to accept the suffering on the one hand, using it to accept the suffering of all sentient beings in that sense, is purifying the very karmas that have led to this suffering for myself. And so I rejoice. This is a way out for me from having to experience the suffering. You know, it's wonderful to have this tactic to be able to analyze in this way and to use it like that. And so this is a really no chance I should be unhappy in a situation like this. I rejoice by being able to purify this particular karma. And so, you know, we may be suffering on the surface. That's normal, that's natural, but deep down we have a happiness that is undisturbed because we have an understanding. And like we pointed out, to be able to expand that courageously, to be able to accept the suffering of all sentient beings in the light of the suffering that you're going through yourself, and that in that way to expand on our own love and expand on our own compassion is really, you know, truly taking the experience onto the path, as they say, and creating a conducive spiritual practice situation out of something that could have been difficult for us. So it's the ultimate in skillful choices here. Today was a landed thing never get Jimbayina, landed never think they need your Jimbayina, and the Karium Gurasana, there were Jumde doors, medicines, or that, Niege, and Javasava the Chicaso data, Javasava the set to do some Matishi Yungich. Don't get you do the same thing, oh, Lane Yavasava to get the top. Tell me, go to ant 차주고 또 저주고 something 아니 same thing that draw you edge 아니 딜라데나다 저가서데 돈데 자침분에 아니 디바다에다 아니 겨두베쳐도 아니 심지 생게 동안 되게 아니 당도래네 소래네 레든지 싸우고 소래네 아니 저기 가서 다 잡아대 이제 공부도 다 해도 와들이 냠내 나한테 도와 와다데 나라도가 진능 신지 아니 제투가 제네 동해지 마치 보면서 동해 되게 아니 마우발라 동해 ngotune 동해 유마두에 탑시치에 마우발라 동해 딜 마요에 쳐도 동해 대외 유 ngotune 겨두에 동해 마요에 빵란 제투에 아니 다들 딜라 때는 아니 동해 다 두고도 성사되는 가와 도와배투에 아니 대점 안 대다 쇼라 야 갱게 동해 세게 탑시 도나 네가 들에 배준체 동해에 뭐기 뭐 해봐체 왔다 들을 제고도 어들 제고도
So with a deep conviction in the law of cause and effect, a person who has that deep conviction behaves in the following way, that when virtue leads to a sense of happiness in their mind, they are somewhat cautionary, understanding, this is burning up positive virtuous karma that I've accumulated in the past. I need to be somewhat cautionary and cautious with regard to this experience. When suffering arises in the mind stream, there's a sense of enthusiastic rejoicing. Say, I understand this is the ripening of a negative karma. I can put a stop to this path of karma here and eradicate it so that I don't have to experience it again in the future. That is something excellent. And so they have this sense that's counterintuitive to our experience. But that is somebody who has a deep conviction in the law of cause and effect. And from that attitude, then one can develop and cultivate this vast capacity for the eradication of the unwanted results of negative karma on the one hand, and the accumulation of the positive effects of virtuous karma on the other, by taking into one's consideration, the suffering of all sentient beings, taking it on for oneself, and the dedication of our own virtue to all sentient beings to bring about happiness for them. And so here, and again for the capacity also to be able to respond in the most skillful way in the future by creating these positive habits now, to understand for ourselves what it is I need to abandon in my own mental attitude, my reactions, and what it is I need to take up, what I need to habituate to practice in my own attitudes and responses to life. And that in the meantime, of course, as a kind of another issue, the side issue for us. Yes, sure. Why not be able to ensure as much as we can that we don't encounter, sufferings that we can easily avoid, and that we can bring about a certain happiness for ourselves as well, and that to do what we can to lessen the suffering as we go through life.
That the name is a Casnamang Mangushiba. They do condition a church to a tingle peju down to a chen. Because then you got tingle peju down to it, peju down to it, the Tamatana and Jonagua.
And so, as I often point out, this is the time when we need to skillfully use the conducive conditions that we have to engage in spiritual practice, to further deepen our spiritual practice. This is really what our situation is for. This is what it's begging us to do. And so we need to be able to do that and not to kind of simply lose that chance or turn our back on these chances.
There is a Sanjay Surab, put him on Busuda, Sanjay Sung, that's what should have been some of the Chitana Duja coming down at Yola, Dana and Mozogate, and Chur contest to go meeting. And because of the Narazo with that. Chinang again contest Cheba Inaya and Chur to done the contest to go years and the neg and Jachabush Chawa. Mamushu Chawa, Wata. Soya Mamushu Chawa. 당가서나 저기 먼저 저다 타야 봐줘. 되게 그 철 그래서 두고를 했을 상에 나서와 저거 되게 철 그래서 두고를 했을 때는 아니 소야 먹고 싶고 차오로 와. 좋아.
And indeed, when we look into the Buddhist teachings themselves and see just how vast and varied they are, on one hand, to be able to account for all the varied personalities and dispositions of beings who might have an inclination to study these teachings. So it's kind of like what the Dharma it should be practiced then of all that's available to us. And that all of what's based on the inner and outer conditions that individuals experience as well. And this is, why the Buddha gave such vast teachings and varied teachings, that there is something there for everybody.
랜데 캘링거나 아니 기본 정도 대화 정도 안에 뒤주 출라스다 동해 정도 양한테 막이 버죠 양조 동해 규태바사 안에 대대 다른 문제는 다 랜데 캘링거 여바도 딱딱 처음도 다 랜데 랜데 친구 여바이나 아니 다 거두이네 24/7 days 그 랜데 내가 랜데가 여바 내가 레디가 요마 다티자 안 소소 고급 셈네다 상해 컨텐츠 좋아이나 아니 지 레상고사에 교류해 주당도 고고도.
And so this is pointing out that in all of these teachings, in all of the ways in which people can engage with and interact with the teachings, the law of cause and effect is there as a constant kind of encompassing all pervasive teaching for all Buddhists, all who consider themselves Buddhists. And it has to be said that there are many of us who claim to have an understanding of the law of cause and effect, and indeed even a conviction in it. But when it comes down to it, we don't apply that understanding and that conviction when, for example, we have happy experiences, we're kind of living the good life. We simply use that to kind of suck whatever happiness we can out of a situation like that and waste time in that situation. And then when the suffering arises for us, we immediately fall into despondency, depression, and point a finger to blame some situation outside of ourselves. And so this shows the very gross lack of application of the law of cause and effect. And therefore, it really is something, when it comes down to that particular doctrine of the law of cause and effect, if we do have conviction in the law of cause and effect, it really has to be practiced 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's something that should be with us at all times, and we should be always checking in to see our thoughts, words, and actions in accordance with the law of cause and effect.
다 될라 때는 레냐 뭐부 다도 다 가게 동에 더 레냐 뭐부 다도 미도 주부도 다 되면서 소소 미도 김세 미도 is 매진 개바 최게 쳤다 최 주베 체도 아니 동해 중최 주베 체 동해 중앙이나 아니 쇠세 개발할 때는 가리고서 탐지 개발 남을 녀월 주면서 로아 최 주도나 탐지 개발 남을 녀월 주주서 주베 동해 대다 중앙 당도 란데서 다 추주베 체도다 동네 그대 조에나 추 철에게 제가 수바 개구레스로 당도란데 란신게 코와다 아니 녀송게 동네 아니 균제와 자워서다 균제와 체도가 지금 자워
And so just completing those points there where it talks about the point of being able to really view the suffering that befalls us in a positive light, see that we on the one hand know that it is the results of negative karmas that we have accumulated in the past, but also on the basis of being able to experience these sufferings skillfully, we purify negativity. So there really is no way, we should not see it as undesirable experiences at all. And furthermore, if we engage in the difficulties and hardships for the sake of the Dharma, it said that that is in a particularly effective way of being able to take ourselves and others closer and farther along the path to omniscience. And that's by accepting suffering willingly. Also, it will cut the continuum of suffering for ourselves and others in cyclic existence and in the lower realms.
Shibache, that the Shibata la Lecatu, that Anje Deve Yu, Roda, Kujo Sumji Chilata, Sanjata Janjo Semba, Dani Chibodanji, to something Michabata. And Mondocha Yu, Romodocha Yu, Lana Mibe Chanjuta, Subject to Sanjay Kuma, Tomacheco, Jajuta, and it Goten Lamnata, Titomeja Lamde, Goten Lamdeni, Golamida, Tameba number ni, Rod, Casade, Tameba number ni, Takacha, Rod Casade, Tameba number ni, Tosango, you, Sula Yanga, Chunicha. That Janju Sebe, Lave Nanam Lassa, Mevakin, that Digate, you their tone, Jebushindo Chiva, that is the Dejita, Yamsula, the Jebutin Toba Inata, Jebushindo Chiva, Della Meva Chenesa, Lana Meva Janju Tobe Chito, Sula Yala Junior, Janju Sebe, Lave Nanamla, and the Trishindo Takaja Yamsul Tamalana Tami, the Lama Chao.
And say, furthermore, then it talks about if you have a great devotion for, on the one hand, the discrimination of the results of positive and negative actions, and really gain a thorough understanding of them and that conviction. If we have a great devotion for the blessing of the triple gem, the object of faith, for the great conceivable power of the Buddhas and the great Bodhisattvas, if we have great devotion for the unexcelled enlightenment, the object to be made manifest, for the true paths and true cessations within the four Arya truths, and with for the two aspects of selflessness of persons and phenomenon, and also the aspiration to gain the knowledge and contemplation based on the object of the 12 branches of the Buddhist teachings and the trainings of the Bodhisattvas. And then he said the results that should come from that will be absolutely tremendous. And therefore, to act on that aspiration, we make the prayer, to be able to train in the best way we possibly can in all the trainings of the Bodhisattvas based on the 12 branches of the Buddhist teachings for attaining the pure state of enlightenment.
That challenge is what that to get soon good. That to get any you did to get that so what to get you did to turn it. And it did that general water, Lama chicken love to source. So the Javala, the Chibola Male, Kule, to send them over said the Jackie, but the time of the weather to watch the Kabatuyan, did they touch, Slovenian touch about your hair, Patagon to what the Tibetan touches or some such. And when I got that jet to again, that goes to the Chilamalu, so what in the commission.
Again, also the check the screen. Talking to get so
screens.
They also that check to show check also the camera the again like also the
yeah.
There.
Ah, the caches, very cash.
That's a very. That's okay. So therefore, in accordance with this, then what we want to do is to kind of really make this profound aspiration to establish the three aspects of patience, the perfection of patience. That is, the patience of not returning, of returning benefit for harm, of willingly accepting suffering, and for particularly enduring the hardships of engaging in hardships for the sake of the Dharma. And we make a supplication. O Guru Deity, please bless me to be able to make this so, make this happen to generate in me. As a result of that, a supplication, the 5 colored nectar lights emanate from the heart center of the Guru on our crown, and entering into us will purify all those negativities and obscurations that we have accumulated since beginning this time, and particularly any obstacles, any attitudes and negativities that stand in the way of our being able to perfect these three aspects of the perfection of patience.
어디서 다 간제 다다데 나라도 저기 최야고 용마도에 조어디 가와투고도스나 나라 체디 개천부 쓰는 용도 와 체디 개천부 쓰는 용데도 먼저 체들려 당고래서 다 남을 대수나 숙청부 쓰고다 내가 더 체들려 칼라고 말에 아니 개개고 말에 대사고 말에 쓰고요 말와 다 가다 체들려 착게 들려 당고래서 쓰고요 와다 딜레되는 바닥 먼저 콘도 사이드 체들려 착하는 용도 와 세들라 숙청부 개천부 쓰는데 안에 저기 또 소소 미디어 관련도 콘도 사기도 와 개와 침에 돈다는 먼저 콘도 사기면 도와 다바다 탐색 겸에 돈다는 먼저 콘도 사기요 말 세디 다 충중 저기 안에 소소 로라 밥마바 돈을 콘도 사기도 와 나도 최들 당시도 먼저 점점 미까지 로를 쇼고면 도와 그래서 최들 당시 강가 딱 그게 매도 된다 말아 그래서는 디게스데 땡기 디게 그래서도 체디게 디게 거라 내가 디게 거라 이나 콘도 디게 내가 디게 돌아단 것도 와 그래서 체디게 쳐봤잖아 체디게 쳐봤지게 미줄라 아니 체디를 동에 망아요래 체디게 쳐못 맞지게 줄라 체디를 동에 융아요래 그거서 사이콜로지가 조단 줘봐 어디로 왔다 체디게 쳐봤잖아 체디게 디게 요거요 맞다 체디게 쳐못 맞지마 이나 아니 체디를 디게 용대지 용대도 다른 것도 콘도다 셰단다 지금 타도다 댄센다 대차다 녀다 망고제 체디게 좀 못는 용대가 요다 등거죠 야바도 뭐 쳐고 해지래도 와
And again, another reasoning here that we can reflect on, and this is in general, in fact, for the way whether we engage efficiently to integrate the Dharma into our lives. It depends on to what degree we consider this life to be so important. And that we often hear the statement made in Dharma of give up on this life, give up on this life. And so we mustn't take from that we say, okay, that's it, no more food, no more clothing, no more anything. This is not what's being meant here. It's saying, it's recognizing that what keeps us stuck in this life is the great attachment and clinging to the stuff of this life. And that's what it means when it says give up on this life. It says give up on that clinging, give up on that attachment to the stuff of this life. And it's very clear that anger is a very strong symptom of how much we cling to the stuff of this life, isn't it? Like anger kind of tells you really how much people are invested in the attachment to this life, such that like even one small incident can promote rage in us, and that shows that any little thing that goes wrong for us in this life, we put so much importance into this life that anything that goes wrong, it inspires a terrible rage in us, and that that's really something that we should recognize straight away to reduce the degree to which we are clinging to this life. And it doesn't mean that we kind of renounce all pleasant experiences. Even for definite happiness, we need to experience temporary happiness too, and so that's valid. That's fine. The thing is, here we have to understand the degree to which we cling to this life is the degree to which life itself can make us angry and create negativity and prevent us from engaging in positive virtuous dharma. And the degree to which we lessen that clinging to this life is to the degree to which we indeed can let go of our anger, because we have less to cling on to, and we have more time to dedicate to spiritual dharma as well. And that must be recognized. And so we can see too that clinging to this life is that which increases anger, increases jealousy, increases the mind of competitiveness, and so on. All these negative things are a result of clinging, hanging on to this life so tightly. And so yes, of course this clinging to this life is very much caught up in what are known as the 8 worldly concerns, and these are very prominent in the world, and the attitude of those who cling so much, because when they detail the things that we want so much and desire so much, and what we don't want so much. And so whenever anything goes contrary to that or inconducive to that, it brings forth this sense of frustration and anger in us. And so it's there all the time, isn't it? So much, like you say, if we desire respect, and then if that respect is not forthcoming, then we're angry, we're impatient, we're frustrated. If we require help and aid, and that help and aid is not forthcoming, and then we're angry because we don't get the help and aid that we want. And so all of these is tied up with the 8 worldly concerns. And so, we need to experiment for ourselves, not just to rely on what is written in the texts, but to put it into the laboratory of our own life experience, and to see the results for ourselves. That that anger is just such a no-brainer, really, and that we need to eradicate it from our reactions, and to sit and to be able to substitute patience and see the results for ourselves. And so, because many people, we are all of different dispositions, and that anger will manifest differently in all of us for different reasons. So it won't be kind of a one brush fits all. We need to be able to examine it for ourselves to see, okay, what triggers my anger, for example, and therefore how I can avoid those triggers, for example. And so, to examine how anger arises for us, how hatred, how attachment, and so on arises for us. What are the conditions? What are the triggers for me personally that lead to these unfortunate and negative mind states, and that I should be able to recognize those, and therefore to put plans and strategies in place so I do not fall into those traps again in the future. So it's really about having that self-knowledge. How do I operate in these circumstances, and what's the more skillful choices to make? And so that actually is, a true Dharma practice. That's what it's all about, how to oppose the mental afflictions. And so that means we have to delve into how those mental afflictions arise for ourselves as individuals. How, what triggers my anger, what triggers my attachment, what triggers my hatred, and so on. And to really recognize and in having that knowledge and that recognition, how then do we combat those mental afflictions? How do we avoid and how do we eradicate them?
가서 더 배주 당을 소소소소를 교육 체주 들어와. 그래서 계고도 칸 나가로 같이 말하자. 칸 나가로는 삼로다네. 아니 그래서 계고도 하고 아니 들라 갑대자. 왔다 딜에 최 자체와 두베스케케 요말. 다 최 자체에서 나라들로 동네 두베데 녀모 지거를 녀모데 아니 라 갑대 자에 딜에 최 하가지 요말와. 아니 녀모가 싸와 갑대 자는 다 너무 자와 다지 말이고 대인이 뭐 다음에 또 배셔라서 근데 최군조를 셔도 다음에 것도 또 배셔 샤기도 아티로와 최군조 가려서 다음에 것도 또 배셔라고 했어도 가서 왔다 다음에 것도 다지 말이거든 너무 배 자와 쳐서 뒤 갑대 너무 작은데 다음에 또 배셔라 이제 디스크 요르와 다음에 것도 또 배셔라 이제 디스크 요르와.
And so this is what it's about. We talk about what is actual Dharma practice. That is for each of us. To be able to use the Dharma in this way, to do that self-examination and self-analysis, to stop the pointing out and to point inwards, to see what is going on in there, what is, in what way are the mental afflictions, what way do they tend to appear and tend to arise for me, and then what is my normal reaction to them. And how do I perpetuate them? And therefore, that gives us the raw materials for being able to establish a strategy for opposing the arising of the mental afflictions and opposing the mental afflictions even after they arise. And we understand that all of the mental afflictions are there to be counteracted in our true Dharma application, but none more so than the very root of the mental affliction of this self-grasping at a self-entity. And that we need to develop then the wisdom of selflessness, which directly opposes this ignorance. And after all, that indeed is what's known as the true Dharma jewel. And that is the aim of the path that we can establish that true Dharma jewel, the cessation of the seeing the self as being truly established or established in terms objectively, and so the wisdom developed in order to counteract that directly is referred to as the true Dharma jewel. Okay, let's leave it there for today. And so then we bring our mind to the Guru on our crown, Guru Munindra Vajradhara, and we establish the upturned 8-petaled lotus and then sun and moon disk mandala seat at our own heart. And we make the invocation prayer to invite the Guru to that seat. And then with after the first recitation of Glorious and Precious Root Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat here at my heart. Keep me safe in your kindness. Bestow on me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind. The journey begins down through our central channel. At the end of the second recitation of that verse, the Guru Munindra Vajradhara arrives at the prepared seat. And at the end of the third recitation, we have the certainty that the Guru Munindra Vajradhara will remain with us at our heart, our very heart, until we ourselves attain enlightenment.
님 배마답지 막 가져나 님 내다지 샤한테 간다 도지가고 잼나가 지겠다 인더스 같이 되게 좋아될 수 거셔 안디 타고들라 아니 다에도 업무는 마음을 다에도 업무는 마음을 줬을 때는 같이 숨고 거대지 아니 때는 디 가서 나고죠 아니 때는 알아봐서 나디디디디디디디 치고체 때는 yan 가서 예담아 예담아 해도 저 다다가도 마셔문에 소서 안디 나고체 어떻게 같이 숨고 거대지 고마시
And then the 8 petals fold over and they are sealed by a white-colored 5-pronged vajra. And then the enfolded package of leaves are surrounded by 3 different mantras. The first in a clockwise direction is the main mantra of Shakyamuni Buddha, Tayata Muni Muni Mahamuni Swaha. The second, in an anti-clockwise direction, is the mantra of Manjushri, Omarapasana, Didi. And the third, the mantra of dependent origination, again in a clockwise direction.
ane rangi taka jachi chojube kejen lu nga yisungen kejen kandecho na seso samsacha taka chichi lu se mate walso kari yoba ne pas seso samsacha an taka nishe chungshi koi manyo ba tende na chungshi koi nyo ba chaso samsacha taka nishe nge za long tinglia ke ane kiyon kandecho ba ne kiyon dika di chane chanso samsacha o tende samlata an hadun do ane kaso data nyudu sangye wala ane tamega nashi di gyön chishu jimba yinsa ane tamega nashi gyön tamja tana kana tamja dakwa ramjang bashi gyusu sabso odina kubashe.
And then from within that enfolded leaves, those enfolded leaves, light rays emanate from the heart center of the Guru Maninja Vadadara within. They permeate through the leaves and they permeate every cell of our body, mind, from the tip of our crown to the soles of our feet, and they completely purify all of the negativities and obscurations related to body, speech, and mind. They render our 4 elements balanced from any imbalance that they maybe have experienced, and indeed they again purify any fault in our channels, winds, and drops. And in particular, we are rid of the main obstacle to our being able to quickly attain the state of enlightenment, and that is our adherence to ordinary appearance. And that this is swapped for being able to see things as a pure, impure appearance.
Lama shaja senge ane kude lenje chegin chino sozu ane ta shindo ta lungde lama shaja senge kulu chusu samdamcha.
And then through the combination of our own more subtle wind acting as the substantial cause, with the body of the Buddha acting as the cooperative condition, our own body is transformed into the enlightened body of the Buddha.
Sozu shindo ta semde nyelenche lama shaja senge tude lenje chegin chino sozu semde lama shaja senge tulu chusu samdamcha rangi lunga yuso da lama shaja senge kusung tungo yeme chasu samdamcha.
Through the combination of my own more subtle mind acting as the substantial cause, with the mind of the Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions, my own mind is transformed into the enlightened mind of the Buddha. So now my body, speech, and mind are indivisible, inseparable from the body, speech, and mind of an enlightened being. And the place here transforms into light and then into the palatial palace of an enlightened being. And then from myself as a fully enlightened being, I emanate countless rays of light from my own heart center, equal in number to all sentient beings, and going to all the different realms of existence and dissolving into the crowns of all those sentient beings and establishing them as fully enlightened Buddhas. And simultaneously, all of the places in which they reside are transformed of all fault, and they become enlightened realms. And so this objective of mine to establish all sentient beings in enlightenment has actually been realized today. How wonderful, I rejoice. And this state of enlightenment, the virtue that leads to that state, and indeed I as the agent engaging in that virtue, are not existing objectively, but merely imputed by thought. And from this reflection on emptiness arises bliss, which combines with voidness, and we abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and voidness. I know this is only happening at the level of my imagination now, but I make a powerful dedication that it will quickly be made truly manifest.
Witness, there you some subject and can't do it, let her to my cheddar tuba. What a drop to which. Codu Lama Shaja Sangate, Rangin used to nature, Takaja, so the church rake, Takaja, that church rake, that Robert social Takaja, Codu in the day you sometime. And Tani just so the church, me too, but some Lamdan called, oh, Lama Shaja Sangate, witness you, getting Maria some subject. What I did, what to it, and some time go do in the day you something. And so the Jack Hala Karatuena Lamasha and the Chuba Pugu something, and so the Saya to have no Chubari. Chuba so the PM and the Taran Chuba Chapua. And the social Sabal that Lamasha and Chuba Pugu some Sadi Lamasha and Chuba Pugu something. And the Lamasha and the Tugu, the Water, the Tonga, the Tongas, sometimes that could do in the church with what? What is it in Jimmy Combat Hagana, Koko, Tagana. So Luvuti, Combasso Dina, Lamasha Jasaki, Comjan Gentani. And the Chopitana.
So this practice that we have of keeping the Guru at our heart in the way that we have meditated, coming from this particular presentation of the Lam Rim, and that in terms of being the foundation of all qualities as well, that we make sure that we remain cognizant and of that reality throughout the full day, throughout our full day-to-day existence, that we have the Buddha here as a witness to our behavior, to what extent we are acting in harmony with the law of cause and effect, in harmony with the Dharma, and to constantly remind ourselves of that, so that like when we're eating or drinking, that we're not just feeding the body, but we're making an offering to the Buddha at our heart, and that all of this then becomes offering. Our whole life becomes offering, and that the Buddha is there as a witness for us, as an assistant to us. And that we must be wary then also if we're doing something that's inappropriate are inconducive to the law of cause and effect, then the Buddha is there as a witness of it. We remind ourselves of that, and that and all of the making of the offerings and so on to the Buddha. Of course, the Buddha is not needing food and drink and so on, but any offering that we make, we visualize that it brings bliss to the mind of the Buddha, and from that bliss, emptiness, and then we can abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness too. And so it's very important to see that we are accompanied, assisted by this Buddha that we have at our heart at all times.
Yogi so because of the Tudo so Chubasham in the Shaka was social hike Shaka, and the Chuba Pizza to Solap to Muzola. That was the Devajana, so the day Chantan, Lama Shaja single Chantan, and the social Sayat to have a Lama Shaja single Chuba Yinsa did to you the order there to news which oh Chuba Shabala to put the Kemajuna, Solap to Musatu.
And so this is only emulating what the great adepts do, the great yogis, that without having massive facilities, they simply generate themselves as the deity and remain like that throughout the day and make offerings like that. And so for us to have the Buddha at our heart center like this is very similar, that we can make offerings to the Buddha at our heart in all of what we partake in during the day, and have no doubt great blessing and great benefit can be accrued by being able to do this, by remaining mindful of this throughout our day. Really is wonderful.
And Tagadish was Mila Lapata, Mila Chichi, in the Mamuchi, that is ever called Lama Shaja Single Jim Sulapso, Lama Shaja Single Jingle also. Check him, Lemanaka, Kiddish, Mila Chandra, Lama Shaja Single Pat Jingle Lapso, some of what the nigga. Jen, Samotama, you know. And
so, for example, any connection that we have with any other being can bring that blessing from the Buddha that we hold within to that being. So whether we're shaking hands, or we're patting a dog or a cat, or indeed engaging in interactions with anybody else, whether or not they engage in spiritual practice or have any adherence to a spiritual tradition or not, from our hand comes this blessing through from the Buddha within. And so in all of this, then we are keeping ourselves mindful of spiritual practice and trying to in some way bring benefit to all of the beings that we come into contact with on a daily basis. So we can accompany that with the, may they be released from the lower realms, may these beings be able to quickly attain liberation from cyclic existence, may this being be able to quickly attain the peerless state of enlightenment, and make this may the blessing of the Buddha be upon them, to be able to quickly make this happen. So making the handshake, something which is a very extraordinarily special. May this being develop a kind heart. May they be able to generate the mind of enlightenment itself, and may all the obstacles to the generation of that mind of enlightenment be quickly eradicated just by this handshake, and make this kind of like make it into an extraordinary greeting. So let's leave it there. So we'll do our Lam Rim prayer. From my two collections, vast estates that I have amassed from working at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief living Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives mentorship. May I find the best of completely created paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings. Let the points of the path as I have discerned them, may I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time.
with my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted now these deeds, and the Buddhist deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this great path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conditions for practicing the excellent path never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Discover great treasure of compassion, knowing the true existence, and may usually master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hordes of demons without exception. Sankapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, blessed brother at your feet, I make requests.